What's good? We're here. My name is Isaiah Velez, and I have the honor of hosting the two masterminds behind sohisounds. Go ahead, introduce yourselves. I'm so hyped to be here with y'all. Go ahead, T. You got to start it off, bro.
I'm Timmy, arisa, artist, producer, founder, Sohi.
I'm King Levels. I go by What's Left. I just produce all the stuff, hop on a couple tracks. But we've been working with a while, so we're making things happen.
He already downplaying himself.
He really is.
He's going to be one of those, right?
His name is King for a reason.
That's a fact. Royalty is upon us.
It's a prophecy.
That's
it's
a fact.
prophecy.
Word. Well, listen, I have had the opportunity to host y'all with this and to talk about the stuff that's been coming out of your creative process, your journey. You got so many different things, so many ways that you guys are multifaceted in your creativity. So what better way to really dive deep into what really motivates you as artists, as creatives, and how you've birthed these ideas. And I think that people need to know, first and foremost, about you two, your relationship, how you came to know one another. So please share with the people kind of how this came about and what Sohi even is in the first place.
Well, Sohi started like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. I think it was like 2019 is when I first got the idea. And I don't even know where it came from. It was just something that just kind of dropped into my spirit, you know, sounds super or whatever to say. But it was just like a phrase like Sohi or sohisounds that just kind of dropped. And I just held on to it. I don't know why. And at first I like had spelled it S or high as like H-I-G-H, you know, like the normal way of spelling high. Yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine. He's like, nah, it's just be S-O-H-I. And so I sat on that for probably like a year until I was having a conversation with a friend from church. We like went to get coffee and I hadn't really told anyone about Sohi. I had like put it on a sweatshirt one time and that was like the only like thing that like I had that was tangible, that made it real. Yeah. So, but I remember having this conversation with my friend and I was like, I mentioned this thing I have like sohisounds. Yeah. And he says, the Lord resides in the high places. And as soon as he said that, I was like, yeah, that's it. Like that solidified it for me. So, and that was the year that I finally started releasing music. So in 2020, when I dropped my first single, I dropped it under sohisounds, and that was the first release of sohisounds. And everything up until that point was dropped under sohisounds. This past year was the first time that I really opened it up and like added other people to the roster. We released King's first single under sohisounds, and then we did the Camp Sohi project, which we got a bunch of guys out in LA. We did a whole album for this label. Which I don't even know if it is a label. I think it's more shaping up to be like a collective. Yeah. There are like, I do have ideas for what a label could look like. Sure. But I think right now we're just trying to like create music and just put stuff out that's dope and that's elevated. It comes from a high place. Yeah. You know, no pun intended. So I think that's kind of the whole ethos of like Sohi is like music and art from a place that is elevated, you know. We're not just like putting stuff out, but it's curated, it's thoughtful. Yeah. It's, you know, something that comes from our hearts and comes from somewhere beyond us, you know. Yeah,
absolutely. 100%. So then you have this idea, and when you meet King, you know, I think you and we met in 2023, I want to say. Yeah. And I think that was around
when we met. We also met in 2023. Did y'all
actually meet around then?
Yeah.
I thought y'all knew each other for a while before that.
Nah.
That's crazy.
No.
And I remember you saying, yo, I got a producer. His name is King. So we want to hear about you.
You met me before you met Isaiah?
No, I think I met
same season.
It was around the same time. Well, Isaiah and I met at church.
That's right.
Okay.
Through George.
Shout out George.
That's it.
So I'm trying to pinpoint the time. I'm pretty sure it was around the same time.
I think it was like,
around the same time.
When did you come back to Texas?
I came back in March.
Yeah, so we met around like April-ish.
Yeah, because Easter we were doing stuff for conference.
So then, this was like April, May, because we got ready for conference that summer. which was like June, July.
So that was around the same time that
Okay.
we met. So we met first.
Okay.
And then we met like June-ish. Yeah.
So do you tell them about Sohi? Like, how do you guys get together musically? How do you even vibe?
Okay, so this is what happened. He was working at a bar across the street from the bar that I was working at.
Okay.
And I was 20 at the time.
Right.
But
Underage.
I was bartending for a while. Because you can
Underage.
bartend at 18 in Texas. So I was bartending for a while.
Whatever.
And nobody ever thought that I was under the age of 21.
Sure.
So my bartender friends or coworkers were like, hey, we're going to the bar across the street. So I went over there. And the people I worked with, they knew that I worked on music. I had a studio back at my place, so like they knew that I worked on music. And one of the people I worked with, he was like, hey, there's this guy that works at the bar we're going to. He also works on music. Y'all need to talk. I'm like, okay, bet. And I've had people say that before.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not going to work with this person. You know what I mean? I'm like, they're making music and posting it on SoundCloud, and it sounds like it was recorded on like AirPods. You know what I mean? Like, we're not doing this. And so I met him, and we started talking, and I could see it on him. You know when you're talking to somebody about music, and you're like, they don't think I actually do this. You know what I mean? So we were talking, and I asked him, what DAW do you use? And this guy's eyes like lit up because he's like, oh, he knows what he's talking about because he's using DAW. You know what I mean? And so he said Ableton. At the time I was switching over to FL, but I showed him some of the tracks I worked on.
Yeah.
And he was like, bro, we need to link. And then he followed me on Instagram, and we had a bunch of mutuals.
That's dope.
From like church and things like that. So it was like, there's already connection here. We should go get coffee. And so we went and got coffee and had a long conversation, said like, I need to get you in, we need to work. And we started working.
My perspective is very similar. I was working at this bar, and in this particular season of life that I was in, you know, I had just left LA broke, like living with my dad, like in the hole and like working my way out of this hole. So I was like at this bar and like not feeling very proud of myself. Sure. So oftentimes when I was at this bar, I didn't talk to anyone. I would kind of do my job and then just like dip afterwards. So what's crazy about how we met was the guy that we met through some random day. I just happened to have a conversation with this guy, which again is crazy because I never talked to really anyone besides my coworkers there. Yeah. Like I never really talked to the regulars, and we just ended up having this long conversation. And then we talked about music, and he's like, "Oh, you got to meet this kid." And what's really funny about this is when I first met King, I love this man so much. When I first met King, I was like. There was like some moment where I thought he was hitting on my girlfriend at the time. So I was like, who is this kid, bro? Like, I'm like, bro, who is this guy? But I just like would let it slide or whatever. Not even let it slide, but I was like, whatever, who cares? And then we started talking about music, and then you played your song. That was the moment that solidified it for me. Sure. He played a song, and I was like, oh yeah, this is it. Because it was like you were playing. It was like a guitar, very like guitar driven, and like it was a sound that was kind of in my head. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, this is it. Yeah. But what I loved about King, and what I continue to love about him is just like how down he is to just like lock in. Yeah. Like for me, like I had never really worked with a producer up until this point. Everything I did up until that point was all self-produced. Right. And I tried working and collaborating with other people, but we couldn't lock in the way that him and I were able to, in the sense that like we would do our sessions till 3, 4 in the morning.
Well, we both,
you know,
like we're bartending, and so we'd get off work late.
Yeah.
And he lived like 15 minutes away.
Like not far at all.
So once we got off our shift, if he wasn't working and I was, once I got off my shift, we'd pull up to my place, and then we'd work until like 4 to 6 a.m.
Yeah. So and I love that. I love that we were able to just like lock in and focus, because I feel like that's really what you need is just like time. And the other producers I work with were like, it was like, I don't know, during the daytime, they've got families, they've got, you know what I mean? They've got other responsibilities. So it's like,
and it doesn't feel like the focus is music. Right
it's,
right.
It's like, it's, and it's also like, I don't know, you're like trying to like get out. Like, I feel like
part
of it is just like, I don't know what I want to do. I have an idea, but can we lock in long enough to just like find something together, you know? And I feel like he was so down for that. And it was such an answer to prayers, because it felt the way I'd wanted every other session with a producer to feel. You know, it wasn't this like, you got an hour, Let's see what we can do in an hour. It's like we're gonna sit here until we fall asleep or until something happens. Yeah. Whichever comes first, you know. And that was like, I think, my favorite part about meeting him and getting to work with him.
Yeah.
What's cool about that too is that, like you said, so high. You said it's this elevation of things. There's an element of inspiration, right, that does come from up high, from God, right? We all love God, we all love Jesus, but at the same time, you can't get high without climbing. So you really found somebody who was willing to climb with you in those spaces, right?
Bro, like, that's good.
That's powerful.
That's profound. Yeah.
And what's cool is it seems like you guys are now, with this idea, creating spaces for other people to do that climbing as well. So I guess that's my question. Like, do you share the idea of So High with King at this point in time, or was that not until way later after you had already established a relationship?
It wasn't until way later, man. Which I love. I think "For the Climb" should be the tagline of So High.
For the Climb. That's
hard, bro. That's hard.
For the Climb.
I like that.
Anyway, sorry. That's
I think that like one of the things that we've been practicing. He brought up So High way later. I'd say within the past like year and a half, he's really started bringing it up and bringing me along for it. But I don't think me being a part of it started when he told me, because we needed to find something that worked for us and what we're trying to do, and something that's replicatable.
Yeah,
you know,
that's good. That's good.
And so we've talked, and it's like the moments that we had in those sessions, which is a whole different conversation that we'll get into, but those moments is the reason we were able to make what we made.
Sure.
And we need to, what I think we're really good at is capturing those moments.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And it's about the relationship too.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
100%.
You have to have the relationship to be vulnerable in those moments to be able to capture them in the music you're making.
100%. 100%. I feel like what happened was, like, in between the time we started working together and the time we started working on the Rescue EP, it was like a few months.
Yeah.
And I think those few months of working on seemingly nothing, like stuff, like out of all of that time, only one of those songs has come out.
Yeah.
Of the stuff we were working on before Rescue. But that time was so important because we just needed to build that relational equity with each other.
Yeah.
And learn each other's style and just get to a point to where we can, like, yell at each other and not get offended. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
not that
I
we
think
do
that's
that
really
a lot.
important.
Yeah,
too,
but it's like,
you know?
I mean, you know how I can be and how you can be. Like, there are times where we really got to, like, put our foot down. And
I think it's
you know
funny
what I mean?
when
Like,
we have sessions with other people or like other people in the room.
Right.
Like when Bobby Lynn was over here yesterday, like the way that we talk to each other, I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, I wonder if somebody thinks that like I'm really upset right now by the way that we're talking about this music, you know?
Exactly.
But it's just the passion and somebody that's has the same goal and what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, even
like
just the
standard.
trust. Well, even
you know what I mean?
even trust. Like it took some time for me to, like, just trust him.
Yeah.
And he will tell you, like, I'm notorious for this, and I try not to be this way, but sometimes we'll record stuff that I don't really want to record. You know, I'm just not feeling it at the time.
Sure.
But I trust his ear, and I know that when he tells me to do something, or if he says something is good or something's bad, he's right about that.
Yeah.
So there are times where I have to come in and just put my pride aside and just go, all right, I'm not the artist today. I'm just the tool, you know?
Yeah.
I'm the instrument.
That's good.
He's playing me.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow, that's
He's
good.
using me as an instrument to make this song that we're working on together the best that it can be.
Heck
So
yeah.
I'm going to shut up, even though I may not want to be here right now, and I'm just going to do what he tells me to do. And I know that at the end of the session, when we're done and the song is done, it's going to sound way better.
Right.
And that had to happen over and over
Yes.
for me to be like, oh, okay, I trust this guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right. Especially when it comes to the element of, like, perfectionism, right? Because we can become perfectionists in our creativity. Again, taking it back to what you said at the beginning, when you want to make the best thing, the most elevated thing, you think it's all on your shoulders to get that done.
Yeah.
So having trust in your producer, trust in one another as you collaborate, that's really true collaboration, right? Because you can't get to that place without each other. So it's dope that you found that. Yeah, I remember there'd be times we'd be doing the IT department sessions.
Yeah.
IT department.
Shout out IT
Sohi,
department.
stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
And he would say, yo, the other day I was in a session with King and he was like yelling at me about how I need to put more intensity on this particular part. And he'll try to like, you would try to tap into that bag as if like King was there in spirit, which I thought was so dope because it meant that the partnership you guys were forming was an impression that was made on you. The way you were making music was challenged completely.
It really was.
And that's dope.
I say this all the time about Rescue, and I know we'll talk about Rescue a little bit, but I always say this. That project could not have happened without this man. That is not a body of work that I could have made on my own.
Yeah.
You know? And that's the value of collaboration to me, is like, truly, we are better together. You know, there's that verse in the Bible. It's like, one could put 1,000 to flight, but two can put 10,000. It's like there's an exponential growth that happens when you invite other people into the process. It's not just a doubling. It's an exponential growth that happens. So, and what's crazy is like, I'm pretty adept on my own. Like I can get stuff done by myself.
Absolutely.
And King is very adept on his own as well. Yeah, absolutely. Like we can both split up and make bodies of work that are like comparable to whatever. Yeah. But it's like when you bring both of that together into one room, it's like you create a whole new world. And that's what I love the most about that project in particular was I couldn't have done it on my own. I couldn't have. I just couldn't have.
Yeah. I also have to say, like, I worked with a lot of artists before Timmy, and none of them challenged me the way that working with Timmy was. Yeah. Because we're both very, okay, so I'm half Filipino. We call it OA. It means dramatic. Whenever my sister met you, she's like, when we saw you perform, she said, oh, he's very OA. But that's like a good thing. Like that over dramatic and the feeling and the passion about it. Yeah. He's a lot like that, the same way I am. And I don't work with a lot of artists that are like that. They're like, oh, that's fine. That's whatever. You know what I mean? So it challenged me a lot. It challenges me a lot working with him. And I think that's why when we come together, we make some of our best music. Yeah, you know what I mean?
This whole podcast just feels like a massive glaze session. Like we're just out here.
It's not.
It's the start, bro. It's the start.
I think all right, so let's take it deeper. I think it's a testament to growth, right? Because what happens is you've created a foundation, right, in your friendship. And then because you're not being over encumbered by having to try to make the artist make music, you guys both want to make music. Yeah. And then you're coming from a very sensitive, and I don't know how deep you want to get into this topic, but you're coming from a sensitive place, licking wounds on the back end of LA.
That's very
true. So let's talk about the Rescue EP, because this is a crystallization of so much of what you were wrestling with in that season. And because you had that foundation, you could explore that with King.
Yeah, I think it's important to talk about the context, because I don't think music matters without context. Yeah. Like what was happening in my life at the time was I had gotten divorced like a year before in 2022 and immediately moved to LA. Like the ink hadn't even dried yet on my divorce. Like my first day in LA was the day I got the text from my ex-wife, hey, the judge everything's good. So I'm in LA dealing with that heartbreak and also like in a new city trying to figure that out too. And doing all the things that they tell you not to do after a breakup. Like after something like that, they're like, stay put, whatever. But I was in Tulsa. I was living in Tulsa at the time. I just felt like I couldn't stay in Tulsa because I was just going to be a menace. Yeah. I felt like I couldn't come home to Dallas because I felt like I wasn't going to have the space to really
let it out.
Yeah. To go through it. Cause I love my dad, but I feel like my dad would have been like, go get a job, like go, like you can't be at home. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. So my boys out in LA were just like, just come out here. So I was out there and just kind of like went crazy a little bit, like as one does, like going through something like that. Of course, man. So it was literally 9 months of just me out there, just like blowing money. Like I've never related to the prodigal son as much as I have in this season of my life. You know what I mean? Like it was like a prodigal son type moment where it was like, I'm out there just like blowing a bag, trying to live life like I'm somebody I'm not, like trying to do the LA thing. And LA is also just a crazy place because no one works. You know what I mean? It's like noon on a Tuesday, and people are just out, and I'm like, what are y'all like? What are y'all doing, bro? Like y'all don't work. You know what I mean? And so you spend so much time like trying to like keep up appearances and whatever. And I really got lost in the sauce out there. So 9 months later, I literally had to call my dad. Like I couldn't pay rent. Like I owed homies money. Like it was bad. It was a bad situation. Had no money in my account. Like. And rent was about to be due in like a couple of weeks, and I knew there was no way. And my car got repossessed. Like it was bad, bro. Yeah, like it was bad. Bro. I was in the hole.
You were in a low place.
I was in a low place. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I had to call my dad and be like, "Yo, dog, like I need you to buy me a plane ticket home right now." You know. So I get home. Had the whole conversation with my dad. My dad's like, "Yo, bro, what are you doing?" And I feel like I finally started the process of like grieving that I was avoiding, you know, in the 9 months that I was spent essentially just partying in LA.
Wow.
When did you get back to Texas?
March of 2023.
So you got back in March.
And in 2 weeks or a week, I started working at the restaurant.
Oh, the restaurant.
Yeah. And I wasn't even going to Central at the time. I was just going to church with my dad.
Copy.
And because when I first moved to Dallas, I was so ashamed. Like, I didn't tell anyone I was there. So I went, I got the job. I'm just working. And also, like, that was crazy to me, too, because I'm like, I'm working at a restaurant. Like, to me, like, I don't know. I guess it's the way my parents raised me, but it's just like, that's not a job that you, like, aspire to do.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like something you kind of have to do in some ways, which isn't always true, but that's how I felt, you know?
Yeah.
There wasn't any nobility. So I felt so low, you know? I felt like humiliated. I felt like I was in a very deep hole that I had dug for myself. And it was my fault. It was all because of choices that I made, you know? Yeah. So I'm here working, and now you understand why I wasn't talking to nobody. I wasn't proud to be working there. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Like, I didn't want to be there, really. I didn't want to be living with my dad at 25 years old. Like, you know what I mean? Like, especially going from a place where I was in Tulsa, had a good job, I was making good money, like I was doing well. Yeah. And overnight, seemingly, going from that to living with pops, working at a restaurant, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
No car. I'm having an Uber everywhere. I'm spending $500 a month on Uber. Yeah. Like, that's more than my car note. Yeah. You know, I could have paid my car note and still had a car. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I was just being an idiot. So all that all gives context as to the things that I was wrestling with as I met King.
For sure.
You know? Yeah. And the conversations that we were having in those sessions.
And I think that's why it was so important that we worked for a couple months before we started working on the Rescue EP.
Sure.
Because here's what the sessions looked like. First time he's over there, we're working on a track. Second time he's over there, we're recording vocals. And then after a little while, it slowly becomes we're doing less music and more like just chilling. And talking. Talking about our life and talking about what brought us here. You know what I mean?
Having a drink. We would usually have a drink before.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out Lalo. Shout out.
Real. Sponsor me.
Let's go.
What's it called? But so the sessions started turning into just a conversation. You know what I mean? We drink a little bit, and he started talking about his divorce, and I'm sitting here thinking, there's something here that he needs to say. You know what I mean? And for me, the most I've ever done prior to meeting Timmy when it comes to my own music was writing songs about things that I'm going through as like a diary to kind of send it off. Yeah. You know? Absolutely. Like I remember when me and my ex broke up when I was like 16, 17 years old, and it was like a 2-year relationship, and I'm like, I need to write about this because I'm about to text her when I should not be texting her. Yeah. And so I wrote a song about it, and that's the track that I showed Timmy that made him want to work with me. Wow. You know? Wow. And it was something that I needed to write to move on to the next phase of my life.
That's beautiful.
And so I'm seeing him, and I see the weight that's on him from the grieving process of everything that's happened in his life.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he would always say is like, I don't want to make sad music. I don't want to make yada yada yada.
He
like,
still be saying that,
he does. But I'm like, bro, but like this is what's on you right now.
Yeah.
That's right.
This is what you need to get off your chest.
That's right.
And you are a artist, and this is the art that you need to express. Everything outside of this will not be organic because it's not what you need to be doing right now.
That's a word.
You know?
It took so much to get to that point, man. It took so much to get to that point because, again, like, so much of this is fresh. Like, I moved to Texas and the process begins.
Yeah.
And I thought that I started the process in LA because I was going to therapy and stuff like that. But it really didn't begin until I was kind of stripped of everything, you know? LA was a place where it's easy to be distracted, you know? It was easy for me to just go do anything else instead of actually sit.
To avoid.
Yeah, to avoid. Like, and I have a pretty avoidant personality to begin with. So I feel like when I was stuck in my dad's house with no car, I had nowhere to go except for work and back and church and back. I had a lot of time to really think.
Yeah.
So the process started, and over time, I think eventually I got more comfortable.
Sure.
And the trust
You
we
know,
needed
and
to
the
build
trust,
up to be able to
exactly,
say that.
to have
you know
those
what I mean?
conversations.
You
as
said
well.
that.
So yeah, I just got to, I finally had was at a place now where I couldn't run anymore, you know, and I had to like face what I was grieving. And I feel like, I say this all the time, I feel like I unwittingly processed a lot of the grief of that time with the project. That wasn't the goal at all. But I think it was just honestly a lot of freestyles. And I think what was coming out was just what was on my mind and on my heart at the time.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I think what's wild is that we live in a culture right now with music where I think sometimes people think music is an instrument for avoidance.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, I could do this to feel this instead of feeling what I need to feel, to face in this direction instead of looking at what I'm dealing with, what I'm going through, and using music as an instrument to kind of go through that thing. So it's dope that you guys collaborated in that effort. So when did Rescue actually start? When was the first song made? When was it like, oh snap, we're making an EP?
Okay, so he's already talked about how he wanted to make an EP before this, and we were working on a track, produced out track, synths down, things like that, and he's not feeling it. And he looks at me and he's like, bro, the whole reason I started working with you is because of that one track you showed me where you're playing guitar. Like, pick up a guitar. And I'm like, okay, bet. And so I picked up the guitar. And
but even go ahead, but there's more to it because this happened. There's a whole thing before that. Even,
go ahead.
That's what happened in the studio. What was happening in my life was I went back to LA.
You did?
I went to LA in October of 2023.
You did?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Wow, I forgot about that.
I went to LA and I was there for 2 weeks. Remember when I came back and I told you I was there for 2 weeks and I had no money. I shouldn't have even been there in the first place. But I didn't get a rental car, which you can't go to LA and not get a rental car. And I didn't have a ton of money, so I couldn't like buy Ubers. So I spent a lot of my time on that trip at my friend's house. Just at their house.
On the couch.
On the couch, bro.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I feel like, honestly, that was the first step. Because I remember sitting on the couch and having this moment of like, what am I doing here? Talking about the prodigal son story. Like, remember how the prodigal son comes to his senses? I feel like I had that moment in LA, sitting on that couch in my friend's house. They're all at work, being productive, doing stuff. And I'm sitting on their couch doing absolutely nothing. And I'm like, dude, I could be working right now. Like, there's so many other things I could be doing than sitting in Los Angeles, California, doing nothing, you know? And I feel like that, like, realization of, like, I'm not happy with my life and I'm making bad choices in the process. I brought that energy back to Dallas. And I feel like I came back to Dallas a changed man.
He was different when he came back.
My mind was like, I was like, I have to get out of this hole.
Yeah.
Like, this is not okay.
Yeah.
Something has to change. I have to make better choices because all of my choices so far have led me to this moment right now, and this sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I hate this.
Yeah.
You know? So we get back, and I feel like I just had that energy.
Yeah.
And so he's working on this track. We're doing this track, and it's just not hitting. And I'm like, bro, this is not it. Like,
Yeah.
this is not it,
He said,
bro.
grab that guitar.
But that's the trust
you know?
that we built up
Yes.
before then to be able
To be able
to
to
say
say, for me
that.
to be
Yeah.
like, yo,
Right.
bro,
Like,
stop playing that.
yeah.
Pick up a guitar. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
Absolutely.
And so there was this guitar that I picked up. It was the guitar I've had for a while. It used to be my sister's. My sister also used to make music, and she got into an argument with her ex, and he punched a hole in this guitar.
Oh,
So
wow.
there's like a hole in the middle of the guitar, like it's broken out. Okay,
No
so
way.
an argument, punch a hole in the guitar, but there's so much character and tone with the guitar that I like loved it. Okay,
Wow.
so you'll hear that guitar throughout the like entire EP, and you'll hear like the strings kind of like hitting the fretboard, and like it sounds a tad bit out of tune. But anyways, I picked up that guitar and I just started playing some chords. Okay, and that's when he started doing the
Yeah. Freestyle.
and it was just a
Off the
complete
dome.
freestyle.
Just off the dome.
And so
Yeah.
I don't know if we still have those voice memos of like our
I do.
reaction
I think I do, yeah.
to the what was happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The can you rescue me? It
Yeah.
was beautiful.
Yeah.
And so me and Timmy will have those like light bulb moments where it's like, okay, wait, this is actually really
Yeah.
good. Let's
Yes.
lay it down right now.
Yes.
And so I recorded it with the electric. Super basic song.
Yeah, it's in G, two
But-
chords the whole time. You know
But the
what I
thing
mean?
about it is it may sound simple, but what it took to get there in personal life experiences is on the track.
There you go.
And you can't. Not everybody can do that.
That's right.
You know?
That's
and I
right.
think that's what really started the EP is us realizing that we're making something nobody else can.
That's right.
Because not everybody can tap into
Yeah.
that factor.
Absolutely.
And we're talking about our personal lives. He may not have known that at the time. He'll be like, I wasn't like planning on writing about this, but literally in the back of my head the entire time, I'm like, finally he's talking.
Yes,
You know
yes,
what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
which is a funny
yeah.
concept because it's like I feel like sometimes you are the last person to find out this is exactly what you need. You know what I mean? And what's cool is that there's almost like different colors of grace that God has,
Yeah.
especially on those who are favored, right? There's a favor that's on your life. The grace that you experience by going back to where you were down bad.
Yeah.
And then realizing, oh my gosh, this really is
Yeah.
down bad. I don't need to be in LA to be successful. I don't need to be in LA to find the growth I want as an artist.
Yeah.
That's the thing of grace. That's the grace of God right there.
That is.
But then it's also grace to know you have a space to return to
Yeah.
and get it going
Yeah.
with somebody
Yeah.
like King
Yeah.
who understands these intricacies of you because you guys built this friendship together, you know?
Yeah.
That's super dope. So, and I think you guys did a really good job of capturing that too, you know? And so for anybody listening right now, if you haven't heard the EP, the Rescue EP, it used to be under Arisa. Now it's under Timmy Arisa. So look up Timmy Arisa Rescue EP. But as you're listening to these songs, you put some of the elements of the raw recording into those songs. Moments
Yeah.
where you're like, dude, that was so good.
So
Or,
we wanted
you know?
to capture the moment. Going
Yeah.
back to the whole moment thing.
Yeah.
I think that's what So High is. I think that's what we do extremely well is capturing the moment the music's being made.
Yeah.
And so to paint the picture, I was at an apartment living with my sister and two nieces. So
Yeah.
it was a 2-bedroom apartment. My two nieces lived there. I had my own room, but everything, all the music came out of that room. And when we were sitting in that room, we were like, we want to capture what it's like to be right here, right now,
Yeah.
this moment.
Yes.
And so when we mic'd up the guitar, did the vocals, there was a mic sitting on my bed. There was a mic
Yeah.
he was holding going around the
we're
room.
really inspired by like Dijon and stuff like
course.
that.
Yeah.
And a lot of his ethos is that same
Yes.
mentality of like
In the room
in the
feeling.
room, and
Yeah.
he has like he uses the omnidirectional pattern on the mic to where it's capturing the whole room.
Yes.
Well, we didn't have that. All we had was a Shure SM7B.
and then like two other like throwaway mics
like some
that we
like
just
crappy
had,
mics.
you know?
Sure.
So what we would do is we would take the Shure SM7B, put it on the desk, crank the preamp almost all the way up
Yeah.
to where you're getting all of the room noise.
Yeah.
And then we would just like, I'd sit on the couch and sit across the room
Yes.
and just sing into the room.
That's so dope.
So you get like my voice, but you're also hearing like him on the couch or on the chair.
Yeah, the
like
creak of
the
the
creak
chair.
of the chair, like
Yeah.
because he moves, like you hear like just the AC, you're hearing so much, which is like technically wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's you're not supposed to do that.
Yes.
But it adds so much character.
Yes.
You know, to the tracks.
Yes.
And that's what we wanted for that.
I geek out about that stuff, bro. I love the technical side of stuff. You know,
Yeah.
like I love that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you know what's also wild is as somebody who's made music with you and has journeyed with you in music, you also have a tendency to create music that can be clean, very high produced. And one thing that I think you beat yourself over the head over sometimes is it being too produced.
The
too
cleanliness,
clean.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
look at this. You're making a project that
Yeah.
is completely contrasting
Right.
your whole concept of what music is. And it's a contrast in how you're looking at life. Instead of avoiding, you're facing it. So it's so
Yeah.
dope that the music kind of went in that direction
Yeah.
as well.
My mentality was this, like coming in, like making music. I was like, bro, we can't compete with The Weeknd.
Yeah.
We just can't.
Yeah.
They're recording in multi-million-dollar studios with world-class producers and engineers.
That's right.
With world-class mix engineers, world-class mastering engineers.
Yeah.
Even if they're recording stuff in a hotel room, they got people who are going to make that thing so clean.
Sparkle, yeah.
I told myself what I said, and then this was really the ethos behind, or the motivation behind making Rescue without knowing this. But I always said, I feel like I need to make a emotional connection with my audience.
Yes.
Yeah.
That needs to be first. The people who are with me, who decide to be fans of what I do, need to be fans of what I do because they have an emotional connection to the music that I make.
That's good.
And I can't do that making pop tracks, which
Yeah.
is what we were making.
Yeah.
We were working on like More Than a Feeling when we first started working together. We were working on like these old pop songs.
I see.
And I'm like trying to do this whole like future pop star, like Michael Jackson inspired, Weekend inspired vibe, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this is not the time for that.
Yeah.
Like right now, I need to make a claim. I need to stake my claim
Yes, you
as
do.
an artist who can relate to you on an emotional level.
Yeah.
That's great.
I can speak to your soul.
That's great.
I can
Yeah.
speak to your heart.
Yeah.
When I earn that from you,
You'll follow me anywhere.
then I can go pop
Yeah.
someday and do all that stuff. Because that's what they all do. The Weeknd couldn't be The Weeknd if he didn't make House of Balloons.
That's right.
Yeah.
He
right.
couldn't do that. Like
right.
House of Balloons is what gave us the feel of like, oh, he can speak to
Yeah.
this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what lets him do Blinding Lights. You
Yes.
know what I mean? So it's like we gotta make an emotional connection with the audience first. And so yeah, I was trying so hard to be clean and polished or whatever. It's like, nah, we're putting the cart before the horse. I need to give people my essence.
Absolutely.
Who is
Yeah.
Timmy?
That's right.
You know, where is his heart? What matters to him? What are his motivations?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what really came out
Yeah.
on this project.
And so when we went into this project, at the time, we've gotten both so much better at what we're doing since then,
Yeah.
like quickly too.
Yeah.
But at the time, I think what made us really good artists wasn't the production or like how good X, Y, and Z sounds. It's the ability to make the music
Yeah.
that touches the heart.
Makes you
That's
feel
right.
something. Makes you feel something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
so we made Rescue, and we started that track at like 3, 4 a.m. We didn't finish that until like 6 a.m. And I remember we started working on it, and then we hit this point where like, okay, well, it needs drums. And then we were talking about, oh, I got this guy that can play drums and things like that. I'm like, bro, let's just hit up Splice and find some drums,
Yeah.
chop it up.
Yeah.
And so we added the drums, and it felt so big and good. And we're like, bro, let's lay down some more chords, things like that. And we finished the track that night. And the track, nothing was added to that track. That's
that's
That's as is.
the
That
thing
night
we made
session.
in those 2 hours. The
Yeah.
only other thing we've done is mix it. That's
Right.
literally it. But the
Yeah.
thing we worked on those 2 hours, like when the chorus comes in, you'll hear my voice on that too because we were both singing it. And we
Yeah.
like to do those like group vocals a lot for those moments too.
I love
but
that.
that was it in those 2 hours. And I
Yeah.
remember when we would always end our sessions with going to Waffle House. We lived 5 minutes away from a Waffle House. We'd hit it up every single time, talk to the people. Yeah, we just finished the studio session, things like that. But I remember we were driving to the Waffle House and we were jamming out to the song Windows Down, Stuck at a Stoplight. And that was the moment we realized that there's something that's beginning. You know?
So cool.
And for me, that's when So High started for me. You know what I mean? That moment where we made something that was more than other things that are out there.
Yeah.
Not on the cleanness or the production level, but it's just more.
Yeah.
It's this feeling.
Yeah.
You know, and it's changing. I always say this, that cinematography shows the consumer how the artist sees the world. Music is making the viewer feel how the artist feels.
Yeah.
And this was the first time that we made something where I felt like we did a phenomenal job at portraying the feeling of that moment.
That's beautiful,
you know?
man. That's great.
And that's where the whole EP started with that track.
It
And then it was
broke open.
session after session.
We talk about trust, and I feel like as an artist, Rescue helped me build more trust in myself.
Yeah.
Because so much of the project was just freestyles. And it helped me not overthink things so much. To just like say something, and if it feels right, that's it. You know what I mean? And I feel like I became a better artist because of the trust that I was able to build in myself as we worked on this project.
That's good.
So now when I walk into a session with an artist, I'm not thinking so hard I mean, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I do, but depending on the day, if I walk into a session, I can say something and I go, no, that's it. Like that. It doesn't matter if it's the first thing I said that day. That's it.
Yes.
That's the song.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's run that. That's how Lois Lane, not to jump. I mean, Lois Lane was a freestyle.
Right.
A total freestyle. Like so much of my music from since Rescue, that's been the process. Is just throw something on. I'm gonna just say the first thing that comes to my mind, and oftentimes, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks.
That's right.
That's what's on my heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm thinking about most of the time. So it just comes out in the music, you know?
Yeah, man. There's something about that, right? There's something about clarity that comes. And I think like what it is that you're not just making something that's different than what a lot of other people are making, but you're making something that only Timmy and King can make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's something that I think any creative listening right now that is hesitating about putting something out there, I hope they hear this podcast and they recognize, oh, snap, I have something to offer to the world that only I can put out there. But then on top of that, the music has something to offer to me.
Yeah.
If I'm willing to engage in it in this way, in a way that's kind of sacred. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong way to make music. I'm just saying that we have been given gifts. And I feel like we really utilize and steward those gifts well when we do what you guys did on that Rescue EP. And I think it comes off. It's cathartic to me.
Yeah.
I mean, in preparation for this conversation, I mean, I had listened to it tons of times prior, but I've listened to it probably like 100 times.
Wow. Yeah.
And every time I would listen and listen and listen, it just brings stuff out of you as a listener. You're like, man, I can relate to that. So when you say you're trying to find that empathy from the listener, that's bi-directional, you to them and them to you. You guys found that, man. You put it in a bottle.
Thank you.
For sure. Yeah,
Thank you.
Absolutely. So that being said, I feel like we have to ask, what is your favorite moment, your favorite song? I've heard artists say like, oh, if aliens abducted me, I want this body of work to be the work that represents this is who I am type deal.
Yeah.
Like, what's the song you want the listener to have listened to? They got to check out right now after them with the pod.
We talked about this recently, and I said that like my favorite song on the project changes. Honestly, I loved For You.
Yeah.
I think For You is one of the underrated songs on the project. Like it's not the one that most people immediately gravitate towards.
I think we should redo that song.
Really?
While we're here.
Yeah.
Just saying that.
I just
think it should
loved
be
the process of making it. Like it was kind of the same vibe of like he picked up the guitar and I just kind of freestyled some stuff and just kind of kept freestyling stuff until it made sense.
Yeah.
But I like my vocal delivery. Like I played with like a different tone of my voice.
Beautiful.
There's a lot of different tones on the EP. That's one of my favorite ones.
And that's one that I've never really played with before. So I feel like when I did it and he was like, bro, that's great. Like, keep doing that. It like I said, gave me more confidence.
Heck
yeah.
You know, in my even my own vocal ability, like my ability to kind of play different characters,
pockets.
you know,
Yes.
find different pockets with my voice. So I love For You a lot. And I it's also really fun to do live because it's like, it's just acoustic and vocals. So it's like a good one to like have that stripped down moment in a set and do For You.
Nice.
You know?
Yeah. My favorites, and if anybody were to never have heard the EP before and were to look it up right now, would be Genevieve.
Yeah.
I love that song so
It's a special song,
much.
man. It's a special song.
I think
Biggest song on the project.
Yeah. I think why it's my favorite one is because that one's taken with the guitar that I was talking about, the one with the hole in it, and that's the raw cut of it, you know? And it's just, man, that whole track is just amazing. Even the ending where we flip it and you hear the click in the background. I recently showed somebody that track and he was like, keeping the click in there was genius. You know what I mean? And it's not even that we kept it in. It was a choice. Like we played it through the speakers.
Yeah.
So
Oh, you gotta talk about how we recorded it.
okay,
that
so
is crazy.
that last part, if you
And
listen
tell
to the track,
people what a click is, because there might be some people
so like
who don't know what
the
that is.
metronome,
Right.
the 1, 2, and they're like you hear it in the background. Yeah. So with that last part, I have a MIDI keyboard, like one of those small MIDI keyboards that has the drum pads on them. And he laid down some keys on it, and we were listening through the headphones. I'm like, that sounds sick. But what we did was we wanted to feel like there was a piano in the room, but we didn't have a piano in the room. So we played it through the speakers, but we kept the click on, and we recorded it through an iPhone. So it was played through the speakers, straight through Ableton, with the click on, through a voice, like the voice recording on iPhone, and then we put it back in, and then the percussion you hear in the background. First of all, I heard a ambulance in the background, and I'm like, I need to put an ambulance in there because like it just encapsulates that feeling.
rescue.
Also
You
with cars, you could hear the cars out the window.
Yeah.
Like,
Also with like the rescue theme, it just like played with it so perfectly. And I'm like, I want percussion in it, but I don't want it to be aggressive. So I literally went to my door and I like banged on my door for the kick, and then like turned the doorknob for the snare.
So
you know what I mean?
Sick, dude.
And then mess with those sounds until it sounded like something distant.
Wow.
And a form of rhythm.
Wow.
And it was just so sick. And I think another reason why I love that track so much is because hearing it live, like the live version
it's a
of
completely
that,
different vibe live,
but it can be
Completely
turned
different-
into a completely different version live too.
Yeah.
And it's still, man.
Special,
it's a good song. Like
It's
like
great.
At its foundation, the song and the melody is so good.
Yes,
like
sir.
the production on the project is definitely more intimate.
Yes.
You know, you really sound like you're in the room. You feel the heartbreak. The way we recorded, like I said, we had the mic on the desk. I'm in the cross room. Like all of that kind of gives a nice bed for the song to lay on.
Sure.
But then when you're in a live setting, you give it a completely different bed.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you realize that it's still an amazing song.
Yeah.
And so I love that song too, because like I said, like the recording has a vibe, but then when we do it live, it's like this like soul R&B kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like completely reimagined, but it still works so well. And it still has that passion because we get to that bridge and it's like, we go
Oh
up,
my
you know?
gosh, it's
and
so
and you
good.
feel the emotion in a different way, but it's still the same, but it's different. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like it's like
Wow.
it's crazy.
And one
you know?
more thing that I'll say about that is there's certain tracks out there that I listen to and I'm like, man, I wish I wrote that. You know what I mean? I haven't found the strength to put nothing past my teeth
Yeah, that's a
since you
crazy
left
line.
me on the like that put nothing past my teeth. I remember when he wrote that, I'm like, bro, that is
a beautiful
amazing.
line.
Like
Beautiful
that's
line.
one of those lines where like I wish I wrote that because it's
It's from a high
good.
place, bro.
It's
It's
so
from a high
good.
place.
And he
That's
freestyled that.
It's from a high place, bro. It's from a high
That's
place.
so good. Put
Yeah.
nothing past my teeth.
I will
So
say this
good.
about myself. Like, I feel like the reason that God has made me the way I am, in the sense that like I freestyle a lot of my stuff, is because if I sat down and wrote that on my own, I'd be insufferable, bro. I'd be the worst person in the world if I could sit down and think about these things on my own.
Yeah.
The fact that they come from the sky is it's God. Like,
Yeah.
So I'm just grateful that I was just open enough in that moment to receive those lyrics, you know.
But
it's good.
you got to listen to the Rescue EP.
Yeah.
Yep,
Hold
have
On
to.
was crazy. We got to talk about Hold On.
Hold On, sick
Okay,
too.
let's talk
Hold
about
On is just the story behind my friend San, that did the production on that,
Yeah,
who
shout out San,
is
shout out
also one of your like favorite
Bro, I've been
artists.
listening to him since I was like
Dude.
11, 14 years, like around that
I love
time
all
frame,
that
bro.
interconnected like
This
lore.
is insane. Like, we have to talk about this, and I'm not one to like name drop or whatever, but like I just do think it's such a like a synchronicity that you just have to like you have to talk about it. I met San, who is a DJ. He goes by San Holo. If you listen to electronic music, I met him at a coffee shop. I sat next to him, and I didn't know it was him, but I looked over and I recognized him. And I was like, "Oh, dude, you're San Holo." And in LA, you meet all kinds of people.
Yeah.
So my like script for any time I met someone was like, "Hey, I recognize you. I love your work," and I'll just go and just keep it pushing. Like, that was it. Hey, recognize you, love your work, keep it pushing. So I did my script. Hey, dude, recognize you, I love your work. Went right back to working, and he just like kept talking to me, and we just had like a whole conversation for like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
The first
So
time
dope.
we ever talked. And then I saw him again, and just like out and about in the same area, and we ended up getting dinner, and I just kind of told him my story, you know.
Yeah.
Told him like where I was, where I came from, and all that stuff, and he was just very intrigued and interested in my story.
Yeah.
So that led to just a genuine friendship. Like, he invited me to a couple shows, and like we would just kind of hang out. And so I played a show in LA like right before I left. It was like January of 2023. First show I had played in a long time, and almost didn't even do it, but I kind of just did it as like a way to just like kind of just get out of my bubble, I guess. So played the show. San comes to the show, and he hears me play Hold On, which Hold On is another moment in the show where I strip everything down. It's just me on acoustic, and I sang that song. And he's like, "Dude, I love that song. Like, I want to record it." So he scheduled a time for me to go to his apartment, and we recorded that song in his apartment, which, by the way, that song was like 5 years old at the time. Like, I wrote that song in like 2019.
Wow.
So, I mean, what, 2019,
2023.
2023?
That's 4 years.
4 years. So it was 4 years old at the time.
Sheesh.
So we record it, and it was completely different. Like, it had that room noise, auto-tune, which was like a kind of a divisive decision, but it made sense.
It does.
You know?
It's sick.
And we made that song, and I just sat on it because I was like, this is cool, but this doesn't fit anything that I have right now.
I don't know what to do with
Mind
this.
you, this is January 2023, okay?
Yeah.
January 2023. Fast forward to November, when we're working on Rescue. There's one day.
Okay, I've been telling this
You
story,
tell
bro,
her,
because
Go.
it was so. It happened way too casually. Okay, so I've been listening to San Holo since he dropped the Next Episode remix, and I remember showing my sister. I'm like, "Oh, bro, you gotta check this out, bro." And I've been keeping up with him ever since then. Okay, and so we were having a session at my place, and then we forgot something, so we had to go back to his place to pick up like a cable or something like that. And then we're heading back, and he's just showing me a couple tracks. Then he shows the Hold On track. I'm like, "Oh, this is really sick." And he's like, "Oh yeah, San Holo produced it." And I thought I was just hearing things. You know what I mean?
Like, wait,
I'm like, "What do you mean San Holo produced it?" And I'm having this like almost eternal crisis because I'm like, what is going on right now? Like, I'm working with somebody that has a track with San Holo. You know what I mean? Like, so much influence, like so much of my life. Several of his songs was like a theme song for a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, bro, that's crazy. And just that moment of like, that realization was insane.
It's a
you know
full
what I mean?
circle
So
moment.
it was sick that I was
such
able
a
to
full
say
circle moment.
a EP that I worked on, San Holo also worked on
Also
it.
was on
You know what I mean?
it.
I'll milk that till the day I die, bro.
That's right.
You know
Those
what
are
I
the
mean? Like,
moments,
I've
dude.
said that so many times. Like, oh yeah, I worked on an EP where like San Holo produced a track on it. Like, it's pretty cool, you know?
It's crazy. It's just crazy how that song just fit, because we had the 4 songs, and we were trying to figure out what we wanted to add to it.
Yeah.
And I just thought of Hold On. I was like, oh, this actually fits the vibe perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? And again, this was before Rescue was even a thought.
For sure.
This
Yeah.
is before I even knew this man existed.
For sure.
This song was already just sitting in my Dropbox.
Yeah.
And it was just like the perfect way to end the project. And even thematically, I think ending the project Rescue with this hope, almost hopeful,
Yeah.
you know, like
Written from a time before the fall.
before
You
before
end the project
anything-
with where you started.
Yeah.
Before you fell.
before anything, bro.
Yeah.
Just ending it with this like, just I'll get myself together. You know what I mean? Just the plea that Hold On is it ends so well. Like I feel like it's the perfect bow.
Yeah.
At the end of the project.
Yeah.
And
It ties
it's
it
just a
together.
God thing. Yeah, it's just such a
sick.
God thing.
And I think
you know?
you see that going into like the Sohi project.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I believe in Sohi so much is because everything that's happened with it, everybody that's a part of it, you see all these small coincidence, quote unquote, of like there's no way that correlates with each other. And I fully believe that it's such a God thing and his hands on it that
right.
I believe in it so much.
Yeah. That's
right.
Because with that connection there, the way me and Timmy met each other,
Yeah.
he was going through a bunch of stuff in his life, but to be at the bar that I was working at, I went through a bunch of stuff
Yeah.
in my life too,
Yeah.
like
Sure.
getting fired from one job, leaving my parents' place, getting fired from another job right before I left my parents' place, and I had to find somewhere that was like 5 minutes walking distance because I didn't have a car. You know what I mean? And if I didn't work in that bar and met the people that I met, and then I wouldn't have met Timmy.
I think about that all the
crazy.
time.
And
like,
it almost is scary.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Like so many things in my life had to go wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like so many things had to go wrong for me to meet this guy. In the
great.
lowest moment of my life,
Yeah.
I meet this guy.
There you
Like
go.
if my story had changed even a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
none of this would have even happened. You
And
know?
that's why I believe in it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is because that's not just a coincidence.
That's right.
There's
That's right.
things that has happened in both of our lives that it's like God had to have removed us from that setting.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
To put us in this one.
It's
you know?
incredible to see you come together and to know that God is the one that's, written this story. It's undeniable. And I think, you talked about the Sohi project. I think we have to end the conversation in that space
Yeah.
for sure. Because you, in the beginning, said you wanted to create a foundation of trust for you two to make music. And now that you've created this, not formula, but this dynamic,
Yeah.
you feel like you can replicate it.
Yeah.
Now is the time where you feel like that's happening. You guys did this
Yeah.
camp. Tell us
Yeah.
about the camp you did. Tell us about Camp Sohi, and tell the people what they should be excited about. What's coming out.
Camp started off, it wasn't even supposed to really be a camp. Like Maxwell, who's one of the producers on the album, who I met through a hiss, who goes by Bobby Land, who that's also a crazy story. So many of this stuff, like you said,
Yeah.
is so interconnected. It's insane.
I love it.
But I met Maxwell, and he has been trying to work together. He lives out in LA.
Okay.
So I'm like working on this album, kind of. I don't know. It's still up in the air. But he's like, dude, come out. Let's start the process of this album. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like I'll plan some time. This is like top of the year, like early this year. We talked about this. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like I'll set aside some time in July. I'll come through. As time goes on, I'm just like, man, I'm not really feeling an album for me right now. But let me invite some guys out and let's just see if we can like make something happen.
Yeah.
So I invite King. I tell Timmy. I invite my boy Tim. I invite like a few other guys. And as time progresses, I think we even made a decision to make it Camp Sohi like a month before.
Here's what happened.
Yeah.
I was releasing Rain.
Yeah.
And we were doing it through Sohi. And
Which is
then
a
he
fire
was-
song, by the way.
Thank
you
you.
can't just
Thank
breeze
you.
past it.
Thank
fire.
you. Thank
What?
you. It was
First
a lot of fun
single,
making it.
crazy.
Crazy single.
And so we were releasing it through Sohi, and he calls me on the phone, and we're talking. He's like, "Hey, I'm planning on going out to LA at this time to work on my album."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Brett, bro, I'll book a ticket right now." And then he calls me another time, and I'm like, "Hey, I have another guy that I'm working with. His name's Alfonso. He's amazing." Okay.
Yeah.
And
Crazy.
I'm like, can he pull up? He's just such a good artist. He'd be good ears to listen, whatever. And as time went on of inviting different artists,
Yeah,
Leo
people just kept pulling up. Yeah, people
Yeah.
were like, "Oh,
As it
I'll
should
be there. I'll be
baby.
there."
Let's
Yeah.
go.
we were like, let's just work on music. Let's not put a label on it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It felt like it was bigger than me. Like I didn't want to get all these people together and be like, "All right, we're working on Timmy's album." Like
Right.
Yeah.
that didn't sit well with me.
Right.
I was like, this feels like something bigger.
Yeah.
Which is how a lot of artists do it. They create
Yeah.
camps like this, and it's
For their
specifically
stuff.
focused on one person's music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I
So
just didn't feel like that just wasn't the vibe for me, you know? Like I just didn't feel like that was it. You know? I was like, I think this, like I said, it just feels so much bigger. It feels like there's something that we can all do together that would be so much better than just everyone just working on
Heck yeah.
cause if I'm gonna do an album, I'll just lock in with King or Maxwell or the two of them. I don't need
Yeah,
I
all
don't
these
need
people.
a ton of people in the room, you
Sure.
know? But anyways.
So yeah, and so we made it Camp Sohi 2025 thing.
Yeah.
And just had a bunch of artists out. We explained Sohi to them beforehand. You know, I think
Oh,
that
I
was a
love that.
really important part.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Was explaining what Sohi is, like making an elevated form of music and sound.
That's
And they
beautiful.
needed to understand that before we walk into it. You know.
And did everybody there? Does everybody there know God, or is it like?
Well, here's the really cool thing. Everybody knows God. I won't say not in a bad
Yeah,
way at all.
They may just be on different
Yeah.
Phases
places of their
places in the
journey.
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the really cool part was when you get that many people together about that are in love with Christ, they're gonna talk about it. You know
Oh,
what I
of
mean?
course.
Like I'm in love with my wife, so I'm gonna talk about her in
Yeah.
almost every single conversation.
There you go.
So I'm gonna talk about Christ in almost every single conversation.
Yeah.
And it was really cool being able to talk to people that are on different journeys and walks with their relationship with Christ and kind of mend that and bring those together.
Yeah.
There was a lot of really cool moments like that.
Even though it's not, I mean, obviously Sohi is not a faith-based thing at all. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
It's we're just creatives that just happen to also believe in God and
Yes.
love God. But I
Yeah.
mean, we had a guy there who wasn't Christian at all. You know, our boy Griff was there.
Yeah.
But it was just open. We're just open and we love people. And we
Shout out
just want to
Griff.
make
Shout out Griff. Sorry.
shout out Griff. He's incredible.
Yeah.
Like we love the guy. We love anyone who loves music as much as we do and just wants to make great art. And so it was just cool. Like, did we open up with a prayer? Absolutely we did. Like we're going to invite God into everything that we do, you know, but at the end of the day, like we're just a group of creatives who just want to make art from a high place, from an elevated perspective, you know, and that's what we set out to do. And I think that's what we did on the project, you know?
Yeah. I feel like I'm excited for the world to hear that.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
excited to see the elements that you had in Rescue where you were able to bring people into the room that you created.
Yeah.
I've listened to the project. I'm one of the people with that Untitled link. Praise God. And you can hear a lot of that there too. So when you say you created something, you wanted to try to like replicate it or duplicate it as a foundation, you hear that.
Yeah.
And you invited those people.
So-
when are you? What's the vibes though? Like, what are we doing with the project? When's it coming out? What's the future hold for Sohisounds in that regard?
You want to get into that? Well, I'm gonna say this before that, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm gonna say this before that. Going back to what you were saying about you can hear the sounds from Rescue and that EP and what we are able to do in this track. The thing that I love about the Sohi project,
Sure.
like the Camp Sohi project that's coming out in
November.
November.
See, that's what I was
That's
hoping
what-
for. That's all I really
That's
want.
what we're shooting
I just
for.
wanted
We're
it
shooting
November.
for November. We're shooting for
Mid-November.
November.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that.
yeah, but
Maybe.
that's
We
the
might
goal.
Kanye
November,
that mug.
maybe.
Push it. Push it.
What I love about that was me and Timmy have obviously worked on things that is beautiful, really, really good, but it's not very produced, you know?
Sure.
What I love about this is it was almost a moment for, I'd say specifically me because his walk is his walk, but for my walk personally, it was a moment for me to show that I can make good music
Heck
when
yeah.
I'm not just playing guitar and changing sounds to
Bro.
make it sound
Oh,
good.
This
you can
guy
hear
is
that. You
crazy.
can hear that,
You know what I
This
mean?
guy's crazy.
And-
He's insane.
And I feel like I have a lot of moments because I've been doing music since I've been around it for forever, but I started like making my own stuff when I was about like 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
And the dream of what I want to do has dwindled as you get older. You know what I mean? I think
of
that's
course.
something that everybody struggles with.
Absolutely.
The dream that you believe in it may be harder to believe in it, or you may be forcing yourself to believe in it throughout as time goes on.
Sure.
But walking away from those 4 days of making Camp Sohi, I literally started bawling my eyes in the car as we were pulling up to the airport, listening to the track, because I feel like it showed that I am made for this.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
you are.
Like there's a purpose for me here. People tell me it. He tells me how great I am.
Of course.
I remember pulling up the sessions and they're like, bro, I heard Rescue and it was amazing. I do believe it's amazing. But from a musicality standpoint, I'm like,
it's almost like imposter syndrome.
yeah, it's like, well, it's like, it's just guitar, guys. I just play guitar on the
Heard
track.
anything
You know what I mean?
Yet, to be honest.
Say it again.
It's kind of like you haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah, that's
when it
what I'm
comes to
saying.
what
I'm
got.
like, you haven't really heard what I can do.
This isn't even my final form.
Exactly. And so there was one night where it was night 2, I think, where we worked on one of the tracks, and it's a track that he hated but now loves. Okay, that's kind of like
that's a theme.
Very Timmy
That's a
statement right there.
it's the last track. It's called Goodbye. And so we worked on that track, and he's over here like, we're sitting in the living room, and he's like, man, I want to make music that means something. I want to make music that sounds like XYZ. Like with the Rescue EP, I want to, he talked about one of his tracks that he's about to, are you going to release that as a single? We'll get into that. Anyways, one of his tracks. And he's like, it's saying the lyrics to it and how like impactful it was. I'm like, dang, bro, like that's right. Like that was really impactful. And I fell asleep that night. I wanted to keep working that night too, but it was getting late. I needed to sleep.
Yeah.
And as soon as I woke up, I'm like, I have this fire that I have after that conversation. And it wasn't a fire where it's like, oh, I agree, or oh, that inspired me. I was almost upset with what he was saying. Like it kind of pissed me off. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, this is good. What are you talking about? You know what I mean?
No, and that's also important in the creative process too.
Right.
You know?
It's that's when iron sharpens iron.
That's what I'm saying. And
It's a
that's
new element.
not a pretty thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was, and we have a lot of those moments where we're like, we inspire each other in that way. You know what I mean? Where it's not like, oh, I'm motivated because you said I'm so good. It's you need to do more. I want more.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, I'm going to prove that that's something that can happen. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and
sir.
so the 2 tracks that I'm on was made back to back right after that, you know?
sick.
And it was a moment to like show Rescue isn't where it stopped.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's where it
There's
started.
more out of me. There's more out of us.
Rescue's like our ABCs.
Yeah.
You know, it's foundational. It's like, and I try not to reference it so much, but we truly captured something so beautiful in that project that I feel like now will inform a lot of how we move forward. Will it sound exactly like that? No, but it's got to feel like that. It's just got to feel authentic. I think Rescue feels so authentic, and I wanted Sohi to feel authentic. What I love so much about the Sohi project is it's not sad. You know, it is very upbeat and triumphant.
It is.
And collaborative and
Sounds mountaintoppy. It sounds like
it sounds like it comes from a high place. You know, it sounds like a victory lap. It sounds like we're on top of a mountain looking at the world.
Yes.
And giving a broadcast of what we see. You know, that's what that album sounds like. That's right. And I'm very proud of it. But it didn't come without its challenges. You know, like there was a time we had that conversation where I'm like, yo, we can do more here. You know, I don't think we're hitting it. Like, this is cool, but this isn't it. You know, we can dig a little deeper here, you know, because I truly felt that at the time. But also, I don't know, man. I like to tell myself that I didn't have any expectations, but I think I did.
You did.
I had some expectations that maybe I wasn't aware that I had.
Yeah.
And so there was a moment in the week where I just like felt kind of low.
Yeah.
And I just like left. I was like, I need to go charge the car anyway. So I left, charged the car, and I called you because you have done spaces like this with the boardroom. You've done 2 at this point. So you're used to hosting these spaces. This is my first time ever hosting a space like this. So I called you, like, little phone a friend. Like, I need some insight from someone who's done this before.
Sure.
And you encouraged me. And you encouraged me to produce because I wasn't really producing.
Yeah.
And I remember leaving that conversation and being like, all right, I felt a greater sense of ownership in my role as the host and as the curator of this event, of this gathering of people. And so I went back to the house with a new lease on my assignment.
That's awesome.
And I walked in and I was like, all right, I'm running this now.
Yeah, yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
So I made a beat and with a sample that turned into the Goonwaz interlude.
Yeah.
But I feel like that energy that I brought into the room of like, all right, everyone get up. I'm making the beat. We're all in the room together.
Yeah.
We're all like getting hyped. That energy is what led into the Sohi anthem. And I feel like that was the moment that broke the whole
Everything.
week open.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it really just took me just being confident in my role and who I am.
Yeah.
And just owning that.
Yes.
That I feel like everything kind of came together, and everything from then on was just like smooth sailing.
That's right.
You know, and it really started to feel the way I had wanted it to feel.
That's right.
At the beginning.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think the really cool part about me and Timmy is that we do have a very strong relationship and friendship outside of music. Like he was one of my
That's your boy.
groomsmen at my wedding. Like
Yeah.
genuinely one of my best friends, a brother. And because of that connection that we've built up, we can tell when one person's mind's in another area,
Right.
you know? And so after that conversation where we were at end of night in the living room, I'm like aware that he's not, like there's some things he's battling with right now.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
There's a wrestle.
And then when he left to charge his car, I was almost texting that entire time. I was like, hey bro, like, do you need to ask these people for money or like this is that and this that? Because
Like, what's
people
going
owed him
on?
money
Yeah.
that. So I'm like checking on all the things. Okay. I just knew something was off. And then he walks in and we were working on a track, finishing on that one. And then he's like, all right, get up. I'm a lay something down. I don't know if you definitely have experiences. For the people listening, I don't know if you've ever worked on anything when there's a bunch of artists in the room or a
Yeah.
bunch of producers.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to say something.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
A lot of chefs
And so
in the
he
kitchen.
knows this. When we sat down and he started working on the track, there were people being like, oh, you should do this. You should do this. I literally told everybody, I'm like, you got to shut up. I'm like,
him
stop
go.
talking. Let him work.
cook.
Yeah.
Because it didn't sound like Goonwaz interlude, the sample you hear, or like the chop you hear with the melody, didn't sound like it did when
Yeah,
he
it
first
was a
started.
process.
It was a process.
Yeah.
But I've worked with him enough and I have a relationship built up with him enough that I know when I just need to stop talking and let him get his idea out. You know?
Absolutely.
And so
And it
everybody
did.
else
That's
talking.
a part-
And I
that's a
feel
good
like-
partner right there. That's a good
and again,
partnership.
because like you see me produce, no one else had seen me produce
Yeah.
before. So I think I was almost kind of like fighting for my spot.
Yeah.
In a sense of like, I know I brought y'all together, but there's a reason I brought y'all together, bro.
Yeah.
Like I know what I'm talking
Let me
about.
show you
Yeah.
the real
I
reason.
know what I'm doing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
He
So I feel like
does.
it was a moment where it was like, oh, that's a crazy beat.
Yeah.
That actually sounds really good.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I don't
do
know. It was cool. It was
Yeah.
cool, and
Yeah,
it was
man.
a great moment that I said, I feel like it cracked open the entire week and made the project what it is.
Yeah, so you guys came, you obviously had a second win and it changed
Yeah.
things. I think what's so dope about this whole conversation, right, as we're coming to the end, is I feel like on social media, when you see an artist doing what they do, your assumption is that they're always at that high space. You think they never have other moments. You get, the highlight reels of the creative process. You don't
Yeah.
always get, the nitty gritty details. And the reality is, even as you're getting to this high point, this peak point for this project, there's still a lot of turmoil, tension,
There's
which
a lot
I
of
will
tension,
speak
yeah.
about, right?
There's a lot of tension.
But I just think it's so dope to say, like, you guys got up to this high point and you can look back on how much you've navigated through to get to this
Yeah.
place.
Well,
You know?
it's a climb, like you said
is.
earlier. That's such a great analogy. Like it is a climb, and even Maxwell, because Maxwell wasn't there when we first started working on the Sohi anthem. When I told him the story about how it came about, he was like, "That song sounds like you overcame something." You
Yeah.
know? And it sounds like we climbed. Like the week was a climb, and we finally got there. And the rest of that project is, look, like I said, it's our perspective. We're broadcasting our perspective from the high place,
That's right.
So it was really special.
Yeah, we talked about iron sharpening iron. We talked about your friendship and your trust being good. music is a tool for discipleship, man. At the end of the day, you guys created a space where people were affirmed in their gifting. Affirmed, like you leave that space and you're like, I do this. There's no reason to doubt. The voices I hear in my head when I'm creating, I don't need to listen to, because I have something, a totem, a thing that says, yo, I really do this. And so what'll happen, I think, is going to be, you guys will have this project to look back on too. Same way a rescue served for you. Now these guys get looped in as well. So as we're closing up the pod, I know you probably got some shout outs. Let's hit some shout outs for the homies from the Camp Sohi space. Is there any shout outs you want to give out?
Everybody, man. Shout out Leo Rain. Shout out Leo Rain. I got to start with him because he came in. He could only come on the last day. He was like fresh legs, bro.
That boy got 2 whole tracks on that.
Bro, he was like the 6th man off the bench.
And he's coming today to finish up a track. Bro, he's gonna be here later too.
He came off the bench like fresh legs in the 4th quarter. We need that extra momentum to get it over the that was him. He came in and he balled out. And it was so like, I don't know. I just can't
refreshing.
Refreshing. I can't put into words how pivotal it was for him to come in. And Leo also just has great energy all the time.
He does.
So we're all tired. We're pulling an all-nighter because we had to be done by 11 o'clock in the morning. So it was our last night, and we knew no one's sleeping. We're finishing this project because we have to get it done.
Sleep when we're dead.
We're sleeping when we're dead, exactly. So he comes in with energy, good vibes, fresh voice, ready to sing. The song that he sang, I was supposed to sing. I was like, forget that. You're ready to go. Go.
That's
and
dope.
Timmy had to leave too. So Timmy was directing a lot of stuff.
Timmy was such an important factor.
He's a creative director.
We felt when he left.
When he was gone.
We felt when he left the building.
He's right over there. I'm pointing at him because he's right over there on camera.
A lot of people do a lot of things. A lot of people ain't doing what Timmy do, though.
Timmy is like the glue, bro. Like he really was the one like kind of cracking the whip a lot of time, keeping us going. So he's gone. So now my role had to shift. I now have to be that executive guy. You know what I mean? So Leo being in the room, I can now be like that executive host, getting things done vibe. And it just worked perfectly. So shout out Leo for real. Because he just came in right when we needed him.
Big shout out.
When we needed him. And then honestly, everybody else in the project. Alfonso, that was my first time meeting him. He's great. Alex, Tim. Where's Alex? Like, that's like a whole inside joke that if you were there, if you weren't there, you weren't there. Tim is the guy. Love the dude to death. Obviously King. Obviously Maxwell. My God, Maxwell. Oh, Griff pulled up for a day. Gunwa, like Jacob.
Oh yeah. Every single person that walked into those doors had a part to play.
They did. Jacob, Jacob had one of the Jacob. Okay, hold on, because we gotta talk about this. We gotta talk about this because we were upstairs in the room. We had like 2 studios. We had like a studio, like Studio A was downstairs and Studio B was upstairs. And it was in this bedroom, and it had like a slanted like roof, and we originally had the desk up against the wall that had the slanted roof. Jacob is like a videographer, so he comes in and he's like, y'all tripping. This needs to be over there. And so, but the other side of the room is like all windows, on like both sides. And so it's so open and you can see like out and stuff out of the windows. So that little tweak of just moving the desk over there and moving the bed completely changed the vibe of the whole room, bro.
Sure,
I don't
changed the entire vibe.
I don't think that the Sohi anthem would have happened
if we didn't have that
room. Because the Sohi anthem started with the drums and everything you'll hear on the track. It started because everybody was on the windows. There's a roof access right there.
People are outside on the roof, bro.
So looking at the sunset and you're hearing these.
So you got people in the room and then you got people on the roof, but they're also hearing because it's the window right there.
And that vibe was what the track is. You feel that vibe. And it wouldn't have been there.
It wouldn't have happened if the desk was way over yonder. Bro. You know what I mean? Like back turn.
It's the little things that just happens.
For real.
But every single person that walked into those doors, whether they're on the album or not, had a part to play with the experience, with what you hear, with the vibes that are coming out of the speakers. You know what I mean? So, So shout out everybody.
Everybody.
And shout out to you guys, man.
Shout out you, bro. The conversation that we had like helped change the whole thing. If it wasn't for you just being available and like being open to having a conversation with me, like I don't think
course, bro.
Would have been great. Shout out my girlfriend for the conversation that we had. Like, dude, I had a conversation with her where we talked about just my time in LA, you know, and just the fact that like, yo, like I'm back here in a way different place. I'm in a high place. You know, I'm here out with all my boys.
Yeah.
We rented a house. I'm driving an electric car. You know what I mean? Like, my life looks
Different.
night and day different
Yeah.
from when I left LA with my tail between my legs. And now I'm here with a community of men that I love that are all incredibly talented, and we're working on an album. What?
Heck yeah.
That's crazy. You know, like that conversation with her that we had encouraged me even more. You know, like shout out everybody that's a part of. Shout out to these guys' wives for letting them be there.
And be
You
outside.
know what I
That's
mean?
facts.
Like
That's
he's got a
facts.
pregnant wife. Tame's got a wife. You know what I mean? Like, but they're away from their families for days on end to come make music.
That's
you
right.
know, like it's not like we're making money doing this. Like it's not like we have millions of followers. Like there's really no reason why their wives should let them leave. But here they are, you know.
But there is at the same time, right? You guys made something special, dude. I like to call it a thin space, man. It's a place where heaven meets earth, dude.
Yeah.
You guys created
You said
something.
the thin space?
A thin space.
I like that.
You know, it's a place where heaven meets earth, and I
Wow.
think you guys created that. You know, and whether the guys are further along in their journey with the Lord or not, I'm positive that being there pushed them along that journey in some way, shape, or form. So whatever it is you're doing with Sohisounds and whatever there is to come in the future, I think that's going to be the mark that you guys make as you push to elevate and to rise above and go through what you go through. Other people will find the strength and the affirmation to do that too. That's bigger than you, man. So it doesn't matter if we're making the money. We don't need that. We're making something real, bro.
100%.
That's really what it's about.
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure.
100%.
So I thank you for letting me host this conversation with you. To be here at the high place, and I'm looking forward to more conversations like this as more comes.
Yeah, there will be.
Love you, bro. Thank you for being here. You're incredible. You're incredible. Isaiah is also an incredible artist, if you guys don't know. So
IT department. We Sohisounds too.
Check out Isaiah Velez and IT department. IT2 is on the way. So
yes, sir.
We're working on it.
Thank you for tapping in with us. We'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.
Cool. I'm stopping this recording.
Feel good?
Great combo.